The beef, the problem, the divisiveness of the Drake album is there's a faction that I think has always been there, which is Drake is not maturing and getting better. He hasn't put out a classic hip-hop album. That's been a combo the last several albums. We all agree on that, right?
Yeah.
And then there's the, Drake talking about Rihanna on this album, which sent the Navy into a tizzy.
That's right.
I assert that these two factions formed like Voltron and created enough noise this weekend. And then you factor in Joe Budden, who, him and Drake been going at each other for how long?
For a while now, but I think it got extra spicy because this time it was very direct. Joe had some words for him, and then Drake wasted no time and answered in the most vicious way.
And then some people were offended by Drake's response, like, how it's so tacky that he talks about having a private plane and I'm like, well, he's fighting with Joe Budden. I don't think he's laughing just because we have regular 9-to-5s and we go fly a regular plane. I don't think he's saying it to us. Okay, I wasn't offended by that.
Both of these guys they're capping. Both of them.
Oh, here he goes again.
Joe, you wasn't mature at 36. Knock it off. And Drake, by your standards, 99% of rappers are failures.
Well, he would probably say 99%. He's saying 99% of rappers probably shouldn't be giving him advice on what he needs to do to have longevity.
Right.
Because he's been doing it. He's been showing for 15 years. He's been the number one guy. No one's ever been on a run like this guy ever in history. Who the hell is Joe Budden? Anyone, let alone Joe Budden, in Drake's eyes, to tell him.
They both made some good points. They both made some good points. I think they're both right in their own way.
No, that's fair. That's fair. But
shut up, Cass. That's boring.
I'm just saying it's facts. It's boring to us. It's not boring to them. They don't want to hear that. They both want to be right. They both want to be the other guy to be wrong. Guess what?
Well, and the interesting piece is Drake's admitted that his whole trajectory since the beginning was based on Joe Budden's style. He said that before. He wanted to be Joe Budden. That's on record. What'd you say, Cass?
I said emotional rap. He wanted to be all right, so Drake's built his career pretty much on wearing his emotions on his sleeve, right? Mm-hmm. He's one of the rappers that made it popular to just be okay with taking an L, right?
Well, and to be sensitive.
Which was what Budden was doing on the latter parts of his career. He was doing that. He was just going on records and honestly just being himself, whether it makes him look crazy or not, right? And that's kind of like what endeared Budden to Drake, or Drake to Budden. That's why
both.
It's almost like they're both the same guy. You know what I mean?
They are, bro. That's why they're both out here beefing. They beefing with themselves.
Drake does that a lot. Drake often gets into it with the people who I think remind him of himself. But in Budden's case, let's be real. He was looking for this too. He wanted in this conversation. He knew what he was doing. Why was this? Back to the original point that me and Ebro have. Why did he decide this was the album where Drake was going to grow up?
Well,
Slime You Out made you think that? What's going on?
Or Slime You Out made you think that he was going to drop an album that was chock full of bars?
I think it's just Drake kind of gave him the ammunition for it, man, because this album is not the best Drake album.
Okay, that's fair.
I think Drake gave him the ammo to do that.
By the way, that's fair. But now I do think this is a marker in history as I started this convo of us watching the foundation of Drake get cracks in it. It's been brewing, but this is a very heated debate about Drake. And I honestly when I turned the album on, it sounded like a Drake album. I had no expectations, obviously. Nor do I have expectations of rappers at 36 all of a sudden being these mature human beings that all of a sudden are going to stop rhyming about things that they're doing, especially it's just not going to happen.
Wait, are you trying to suggest, Ebro, you think there's going to be a crack relative to this album, because of this album that is going to lead to some sort of
I think it'll lead to
problem?
More of this. Headwind, let's call it, for Drake.
Backlash?
I'm not, it's not as it's not as smooth as it's always been. Is all I'm saying.
I mean, I just think also Drake should expect some kind of backlash. I'm talking about the Rihanna part. He was very direct. I mean, without saying her name, but please, everybody knows what he's talking about.
He had to know that was going to come.
Come on. And then just how loved Rihanna is and how past she's surpassed all of this. She's basically married with 2 children. Like, that happened a long time ago. So
okay, so you guys thought the petty, toxic guy all of a sudden, and this is the thing that irritates me about the whole thing, and I'm not, you know Drake don't like me, so it's not as if I think that my take is going to somehow ingratiate me to Drake. It's just watching y'all. So he was celebrated for being petty and toxic, and then at a certain point in his career, the petty and toxic thing is played out, and now everybody mad at it.
They're like, whoa, that's too petty and toxic for us, sir. We liked it up to a point, but not now.
We draw the line at Rihanna.
We draw the line at Rihanna. And by the way, I do hear that. I mean, obviously, I'm not so deep in this, guys. I'm old enough that I had to Google Drake Rihanna this morning and read what lines people were even talking about. So it didn't exactly affect me the same way. If that's in fact true, I can see why people would be like, okay, that's a bit far.
Of course.
Sure.
But all I'm saying is it's expected. It should be. It's on brand. Right. That's all I'm saying.
And also, just real quick to one of Budden's points, though, like you're doing it for the algorithm, you're doing it for the kids. He doesn't have to work very hard to be hot with the kids, guys. We've never seen in history.
Oh, hold on.
We've never seen in history an artist who stayed hot with the youth this long. So you might say he's doing it for them, but he's been doing it that way, and it's been really effective.
Yeah, but there's a little bit of cracking in that too, because he's aging out a little bit with the younger kids. You know what I'm saying? Like,
not the way my 15-year-old niece and nephew ran to that concert, knowing every word. Didn't feel that way. 15 now. Yeah. They were born when Drake came out. 15-year-olds.
Right. I mean,
how young is he trying to go? The daycare? The nursery? I mean, he's doing pretty good.